Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with my President's Month TBR, which will be books that I plan to read during the month of February. In America, the third Monday of every February is President's Day in America, which combines the observances of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington's birthdays. Lincoln's birthday was February 12th, and George Washington's was February 22nd. Speaking of which, let's get right into it. I have 3 books that are either about presidents or by presidents that I plan to read during the month of February. And if I have time left, I plan to catch up on other things that I plan to read. First book I plan to read has to do with Washington himself. It's called Washington's Farewell, The Founding Fathers' Warning to Future Generations by John Avlon. This is a new book. It came out during the month of January, and Avlon wrote a few other books, one of which was Wingnuts, which has to do with the farewell address that Washington released during the end of his second term. Washington was a firm believer that a president should only serve 2 terms. They were not a king in any which way. And it talks about the influence that it had on future presidents in whichever way. Jefferson, Lincoln, there's mention to Reagan, and so many others. It's just something that I'm really interested in checking out. I think that I'm actually going to start by reading the address itself, and then start reading the book and see how everything gels. But I'm really excited to read this, and I'll let you know what I think when I'm done. Next thing that I plan to read is a pretty heavy book, but it's something that I had my eye on because it was the very first and, when I picked it up, the only novel ever written by a president, and that is The Hornets Nest by Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter is the first and only president to release a work of fiction. But this is a work of historical fiction that takes place during the Revolutionary War, and it has to do with a particular Ethan Pratt and his experiences. I attempted to read this before, but there was a great amount of... there were so many stories and characters, and I felt that it was worth going and checking out something else first, but I'm going to give this another attempt. And the next president-themed book that I plan to read has to do with a president's poetry collection, and that is Poems of Religion and Society by John Quincy Adams. I find it quite fascinating that John Quincy Adams wrote poetry, and I know that he had a very scholarly background. I'm really fascinated to see how he approached poetry and what kind of picture he's going to paint in my mind. And if I have time during the rest of the month, I plan to read Batman the Killing Joke by Alan Moore, also including illustrations or contributions from Brian Boland and John Higgins. And I would also like to get to The Adventures of Augie March by Saul Bellow. Alrighty, this is my February TBR for President's Month and everything else I have in store. And I thank you for watching my TBR for the month of February. I hope to have a great reading month. A little bit, if not much better than January. Thank you for tuning in, and for now, keep reading.